good evening, sir. Have you got time to talk to us? Tell us a few stories.
Well, hell, I guess that's what you're all here for, right?
Right.
All right, well, with any good story, I guess I should probably start from the beginning, don't you think so?
Absolutely.
All right, well, what do the English teachers say nowadays? You got to give it a nice, juicy beginning. I think I can give you just that. For those of you who have seen war, the images forever haunt you. You are perpetually reminded of the sights, the sounds, and the taste of the battlefield. The memories never escape you. But this isn't a story about that. This story is about my friend Charlie, or as we professionally knew him, Sergeant Charles H. Seston, United States Army Company I, 11th Indiana Infantry Regiment, Wallace's Zouaves. Charlie's much shorter, don't you think? Well, Charlie and I were best friends. We grew up right here in the city of New Albany, Indiana. Let's take a moment and reflect on our beautiful city. New Albany, Indiana, the city that never sleeps. Well, like I said, Charlie and I were best friends, and we grew up playing together on the streets of New Albany. Now, sir, how much do you know about your best friend? Absolutely nothing. Don't answer that question if it's not going to be that. Last time I'm calling on you. You're my next go-to person. Just give you a heads up. Anyhow, there are 3 things for certain I know about Charlie. When he was born, his mother and his father's name, Mr. and Mrs. Seston, and any siblings he may have had. Now, Charlie was born here in New Albany in 1840. His father was a merchant, very influential, had some respect in the community. But before the war even began, Charlie's family had been plagued with death. Before Charlie was 10 years old, he lost his mother and his 3 baby siblings, the 3 of whom are buried next to him. That left Charlie, his father, and myself as his best friend. But death wasn't going to keep Charlie down none. Death is something to overcome. Spit in his eye, yet another day from the thief. Charlie's going to better himself. Charlie's going to make himself a good man. So we do that just by going down to the wharfs and learning some colorful language, if you haven't heard me say it tonight. That's what Charlie and I do, is make a little money bouncing around here, doing odd jobs as young kids. And one day we decided we're going to skip out on our education. Before we tell you about that, first time Charlie and I tasted war was back in 46. Now, sir, you look like you remember the war back in 46, do you?
Sure.
Now the war in 46, we fought that from 46 to 48. Now, those of you who don't remember it, that's when we saddled up, sent our boys down to Texas and Mexico, whooped Santa Anna's ass back across the Rio Grande, and reclaimed the great state of Texas as our own, fighting the Mexican War. Now, when Charlie and I are about 13, 14, maybe 15 years old back in 55, any children of the 50 out there? All right, we don't have any. You're a child of the 50s? All right, you know what I'm talking. You're a child of the 50s, so you all know the craziness. We decided we were going to be rebels, and we snuck out from our job one day, came right down this lane on your left, and watched them erect and unfold the Mexican War Memorial, contributed to all those troops from New Albany and Floyd County who had fought to stop Santa Anna's troops. Well, they unveiled that monument. Men started crying, women started weeping and fainting, and Charlie and I decided on that spot, we're not going to be like that. We're going to be better than that. We're going to be strong, tough men. War's not going to stop us none. So we thought. Well, the war fires itself into town on April the 12th, 1861 at 4:30 a.m. when the opening shots are fired. Fort Sumter in Charleston, South Carolina. At the time, I'm down here making money on the wharf, on the river. Charlie decided he was going to be a man's man. He was going to be book smart. He was going to be educated. Charlie went up to Crawfordsville, Indiana, attended Wabash College. Now, man, what would you go to Wabash? Well, you'd go to Wabash College. It's all men. I was Charlie. I would have gone a little bit south to Paul, but that's another story for another day. Anyhow, I'm going where the money is. I cross the river and I go to Jefferson County. They're paying a federal bounty. They're paying a state bounty. Some regiments are paying county bounties. And even some regiments, if their officers are rich enough, are paying a bounty themselves if you join up and go fight for them. With Charlie, I didn't keep my end of the promise of joining up together. Charlie caught wind of that and stopped in Jasper County on his way back. Joined up with the 11th Indiana Zouaves. As fate would have it, Charlie was brought back here to New Albany. Trained just a little bit east of here, Clarksville, Camp Whitcomb, right on the creek. Y'all probably seen it, the white tents down there. Well, Charlie and I drilled, we trained with our regiments, and of course we're in the area, so we're going to be put under the same general command. We're sent south to Missouri, courtesy of river boats, the Mississippi and the Ohio, and we stop and we fight the Battle of Shiloh. We were supposed to stop Confederate oppression right there, and we were driven back to the river. We were pushed back onto the boats, and what happens? We head deeper south, untrained, unprepared, not regrouped, and we get on the Cumberland River. We head up to Fort Henry and Donelson under the command of Ulysses S. Grant. There we take about 20,000 Confederate prisoners of war in 2 forts, Henry and Donelson, and Grant himself gets a nice little special name, Unconditional Surrender Grant. Now with that, we fight a few little skirmishes here and there throughout the remainder of 1862, and I'll never forget July the 4th, 1863. I saw the rockets' red glare and the bombs bursting in air as we lobbed shells into the city of Vicksburg, Mississippi. Now in Vicksburg, there are tales of cannibalism, babies being murdered, people living in the most wretched and foul conditions known to man. They're living in tunnels underneath the city because we've destroyed the town, completely annihilated it. 3 months. Well, finally one day somebody goes up, waves the white flag in Vicksburg, and we take the town and 60,000 prisoners of war. Now naturally you're in the South, so man, where are you going to party in the South?
Wherever there's a party.
Where are you going to party in the South? You know what I'm talking about. New Orleans. So you're going to go down to New Orleans, you're going to throw the beads around, and you're going to have yourself a good time. And by God, did we occupy that city in more ways than one. Anyhow, while we're in New Orleans, we stop. Admiral Farragut's given command from Lincoln. You have to finish the Anaconda Plan. So spring of 64, Farragut moves up the river, got to finish off those last remaining Confederate forts. I'm ordered with the 5th to remain there. We go with Sherman, and we're going to do the march to the sea. However, Charlie and his boys, they're going to hop on a boat. They're going to go up to the capital city. They're going to be put under the command of General Sheridan. We're going to go into the Shenandoah Valley. They're going to fight Jubal Early's true boys. They're going to stop them, and that's going to be the final draw until we get to Richmond. Now, Early's men are some of the last of the largest contingent of Confederate forces left in the Shenandoah Valley, and they're a threat to D.C. So what happens? Naturally, the two armies meet outside of Winchester, Virginia. Now, Winchester has already seen the battle twice. The fields outside are destroyed, and the city itself is almost vacant. That's not going to stop us from fighting one more fight. So on a ridge line is a Confederate battery. We're going to take that battery, we're going to take that hill, and we're going to fire the guns down on the Confederates themselves. So the 11th Indiana is given the honor of being one of the lead companies across the field with so many others, and they go forward, and they're driven back. Going forward again, driven back a second time. Finally, after the 3rd, fall back. Boys, fix bayonets. We're taking the town one way or another. Now, like I said earlier, Charlie's a little bit smarter than I am. He moves up in the world, he gets himself some stripes, and he's made color sergeant of the 11th Indiana. A color sergeant doesn't carry any weapons with him. His job is to stand out in front of the troops with the standard, that is the flag, be the guide on post for where you're supposed to go. You can't see jack on the battlefield. So finally the charge order is given, and you march across the field like that for a bayonet charge, driving anything out of your way. Charlie, however, is standing almost 100 yards in front of him, holding the flag up high and guiding our troops to victory. A Pyrrhic victory, that is. So, as Charlie leads him across, shot number 1 rings out from a Confederate rifle. Bang! Charlie's hit. Shot number 2 rings out. Pop! Charlie's hit again. Ain't New Albany boy going to be kept down. Charlie keeps going across until the final crack is heard of a Confederate hammer slapping down on a cap. A ball is propelled out of the end of a muzzle of a barrel. Charlie falls dead on the battlefield there at Winchester, Virginia. 3 shots tried to take him down. The 3rd one succeeded. That ends the life story of Charles H. Seston. However, it doesn't end there. Now Charlie again comes from a family with money. His father wants his son to be buried with the family here in Fairview. Contracts it out, finds where his son's body's located in Winchester, has his son embalmed and sent down to Jeffersonville on a ferry boat. Now, at the time, there's only one mortician in town. Letting you down since 1856. Well, the last one to let you down since 1856. That'd be Kraft Funeral Homes. Sends the mortician down to Jeffersonville, brings the body, preps it a little bit more, makes it presentable. Caisson pulls in through the gates of Fairview Cemetery. They unload the body, have full military honors for Charlie. So it goes. But that isn't in there. Rumor has it, and it is highly speculated, that the man lying in that grave there isn't Charles H. Seston. We don't know who it is. See, there's no form of identification. We don't know who we are. You're told who you are by your friends and family who find you. Charlie had no friends or family in the area. His father didn't pick him up. A random stranger did. Thus the story goes. So I can tell you this. Whoever it is in that grave, be it Charles H. Seston, Medal of Honor recipient, or some unknown soldier, he has earned the respect that he should be given by paying the ultimate price and fighting for what he believed in. So with that, I remind you, anytime you see a veteran of our armed services, stop and say thank you. Because even though they are living and haven't paid that ultimate price, they have sacrificed some part of their life for the freedoms and the liberties we so often take for granted. And anytime you pass by a military grave, stop, pay your respects, and say thank you. And with that, thank you all for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.